This week on Lone Wolf's Whitetail Addictions, John Macko is a vice president of a financial services company in Connecticut. And Jim Deppe farms a few thousand acres of prime whitetail country in central Illinois. But these guys have one very common addiction: big whitetails. Here's this week's whitetail hunting tactic with Adam Hayes.
These days it seems like everyone's interested in filming their own hunts, and one of the questions that we get asked the most is what's the best way to set your tree stands for filming. If at all possible, you need to get the hunter and the cameraman in the same tree. You never know what's going to happen when a big buck comes in, so it's very important to be able to communicate easily and quietly between you and your cameraman. Set the platform of your cameraman's stand 1.5 to 2 feet above the level of the hunter's stand and directly behind him but off to one side. This will keep the camera out of the hunter's way and allow you to film right over the hunter's shoulder. Also, keep in mind that you want to keep your hunter in between the camera and where you expect the game to come from, because when the moment of truth arrives, if you can reconnect the hunter and the deer in the same frame, that's as good as it gets when it comes to filming your hunt.
Welcome back to Lone Wolf's Whitetail Addictions. John Macko's career demands more of him than a normal 40-hour work week. But thanks to the support of his wife and kids, he's still able to take time to feed his whitetail addiction.
I'm very happily married. I just celebrated my 6-year anniversary. I have 2 great kids, a 5-year-old daughter and a soon-to-be 1-year-old son. My daughter enjoys the outdoors. We take walks together. My son soon will be. My wife and I go looking for sheds in the early winter through the spring. I've taken my daughter on the same type of hikes at this point. My wife knew what she was kind of getting into before we got married. She was taking walks in the woods with me when we were dating, and she knew how much I enjoyed it. And she sees, I guess, the smile that it brings on my face when it gets close to the fall and that air starts to get crisp, and she sees that, you know, that's my time. And I balance my life. I balance my life as much as I possibly can. I mean, I work very, very long hours, both at the office here and on the road, and my family is the most important thing to me. You know, again, the balancing act of family, work, and leisure, I would say is I guess everybody's dilemma in life. It doesn't matter if it's hunting or if it's golf or it's fishing. You need that balance, and you need that balance for you, for your own health. It's good for your marriage. If I didn't have it, I don't really know what I would do. My wife, extremely supportive of call it a habit, call it an addiction, call it whatever you want to call it. Sometimes she's more excited than I am when I bring home a deer.
I get really excited because if there isn't good news for a whole season, John's not a happy camper. But, yes, I do get excited, and again, I'm so proud of him because he put so much into it, and he deserves a good buck.
I don't know if it's partially because she thinks that I won't hunt as hard now because I'm already done, or it's she's genuinely happy for me. But either way, you know, I'm grateful to have that.
On a day-and-a-half-long business trip to Ohio during the late bow season, John finds time to squeeze in a deer hunt in between meetings. And fortunately for John, he doesn't have to wait long for the action to start. With only a day to hunt, it's hard to be very choosy, but you just never know what might show up right after you let your arrow fly. John took advantage of his small window of opportunity to get out and enjoy the late-season woods in Ohio, and ended up harvesting a nice buck for his efforts. I'm sure John is already planning another business trip to Ohio for this fall. John made another stop in Illinois during the late season to spend a few days hunting with his good friend Andrae D'Acquisto. And I'm sure this was a hunt that John won't soon forget. John spots a big Illinois bruiser moving through the timber and heading in his direction. John ranges the buck at 35 yards and waits for the perfect shot.
All right, we're good. I know, I seen that. That's a good shot. That's a long shot, too. There he is, right up top. I think we got a nice 10-pointer on. Oh yeah, look at the cage. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Another Illinois bruiser. What has he got? It's a 12-point. 13, 14. Wow. Nice frickin' cage.
Welcome back to Lone Wolf's Whitetail Addictions. Jim Deppe has spent his life farming in some of the best whitetail habitat that Illinois has to offer, and with the right equipment at his disposal, has turned his own property into something even better.
You talk to the pros and they all say location, location, location. Well, that's true. But if you can create that location too. I mean, with proper deer management, proper habitat management, you can create that location. I have the equipment to do my food plots. I farm other ground right there in that area. So when I'm down there and I'm planting corn, it's nothing to buzz over there and put in a food plot. And it's down and back, and I've got several acres planted, you know, and down and back a couple times. I try to make an environment for the deer where those deer have something to eat that they really like all seasons of the year. That keeps your deer in that location. It's not just hunting season. Those deer, they want to be there. They're going to want to be there year round. That's what I want. I've got an area that it's about 15 acres of timber, bedding area, that I don't go in. The only time I let anybody go in there is in the spring when I shed hunt. The rest of the seasons, the rest of the summer, anytime, it don't matter. That's off limits.
On the opening day of the Illinois shotgun season, Jim headed out to his favorite lone wolf stand in hopes of seeing one of the mature bucks on his property that had given him the slip during the early archery season. It didn't take long for the action to start as this young buck moved through the area, followed by a couple of does. Moments later, Jim spots a big buck moving in his direction. Jim connected on a great 160 Class 10 point, hunting on his own farm. Then ended up harvesting an even bigger buck with his bow in the same location. Congratulations, Jim. We'll be right back with more Whitetail Addictions.
Hi, I'm Andrae D'Acquisto. This is a buck I harvested back in 1996. It's got a special spot in my heart because it's the first Boone and Crockett I actually harvested with a bow. This deer was spotted on a scouting mission. I was out with my son at the time, and he actually spotted the deer in the field. I backed the truck up, checked it out, and it was standing in a ditch looking at me in a complete velvet. The deer looked like it was a 200 typical at the time. A few more weeks of glassing and spotting this deer prior to the season showed me that he was working a hedgerow and a licking branch along that hedgerow with a couple other buck animals. I stayed back until the day before the season. On opening day, I slipped in with Alpha original stand, set up on that hedgerow, and harvested this deer heading to that licking branch. The deer ended up with a net score of 180, 1 5/8, with a gross score of 187 7/8, and ended up at the #2 typical bow kill for the state and held that ranking for almost 9 years.